Opinion, it seems, is really divided in respect of the merits of opening the legal market in India, with the most visible segments of the Indian legal fraternity really opposing any opening of the legal market there. What's your take on the situation?
So I think there is no cause for worry, and like my then friend said, I think it should be encouraging for the lawyers. They will have more opportunities, the chances to get paid better remunerations. Maybe they would be handling work for bigger clients, international clients. So I don't see any negative impact as far as the law firms are concerned, the foreign law firms are concerned.
Yeah, I being an in-house counsel, I feel that the clients will have wider choice. The quality of legal practices will improve, and even to that extent, the quality of the lawyers, the education, the quality of lawyers will significantly improve. So I feel it's good for the nation.
Do you agree that episodes like Satyam will affect levels of foreign direct investment into India?
I think what is more important is how the Indian government dealt with the Satyam issue. It was very swift, it was absolutely transparent, and a new bidder was identified in less than 100 days. And I don't think you could have expected that kind of efficiency from too many countries. I don't really see that as reflective of any sense of lack of transparency in Indian companies or their accounting standards and things like that. The second part of your question as to how Indian firms are dealing with the downtrend, I would probably say they are less affected than perhaps some of their counterparts in the developed market for various reasons. One, we've had a lot of domestic active investment and domestic acquisitions by companies and consolidation within the country. Therefore, it was not entirely dependent on foreign capital buying and acquiring assets in India. So to that extent, we've remained, so to speak, relatively immune, or decoupled, or whatever you want to call it, from the downtrend. Secondly, what has happened is that Indian economy had probably become too hot and too bullish. So there's a sense of balance brought in. The valuations have become much more reasonable. Therefore, the local M&A impetus, I would say, has happened because of some kind of a rationalization of the market. So putting these two together, I feel that the lawyers have no cause for concern. But lawyers who entirely depend on FDI related work can probably see some element of cutback in revenues, but I don't see that as a trend for the larger firms who have a well spread out practice.
See, typically on a few practices which have been seeing a bit of action, one which I can cite is the banking and finance practice, because India has not been hit that badly by the credit crunch, because if you look at our banking system, there's a fair amount of regulation from the Reserve Bank of India, and also that in the 70s all the existing banks were nationalized. Therefore, in our banking sector we have an equal number of private and public sector banks. Now the public sector banks have always been conservative about their lending strategies, and therefore even in these times they do have money to lend for proper and just causes, and a similar case can be found with the private sector banks. And aided by this credit, we see a lot of Indian companies now actually reaching out to Europe, especially where valuations are at an all-time low, and trying to expand their horizons. And in any event, India has never really been a huge big ticket market. I mean, you may see one or two deals in a year which go above, say, the $150 or $200 million space. So it's never really been that kind of a market. But at this given point of time, what we see is that there's as Ramesh was mentioning, there's been a mid-market consolidation, and deals have been happening between the space of $5 to $25 million. So there is work to keep people busy, but of course, people with capital markets or FDI focused practices unlike the full service law firms, will definitely bear some sort of a setback.
The approach we've adopted in Bombay is that build in-house teams, create your own expertise, because there's nothing available outside for you to borrow from, and build your own inherent strengths and deliver fast. So I think that's worked well for us.
Gentlemen, the next topic is legal process outsourcing, another hot and divisive topic in India at the moment. Critics say that legal process outsourcing really just produces low-quality, mass-produced work, and the means it does it by are really ethically questionable. Are criticisms such as these valid?
I don't agree with the criticism of legal process outsourcing as compromising on quality or compromising on client confidentiality and things like that. Ultimately, let's not forget, lawyers are facilitators of business. Let's not fool ourselves that, oh, we are a noble profession, therefore we live in isolation. No. Any process which saves money for the client or for the business has to be supported. Now, how you go about doing it is a matter of strategy. So, as a matter of principle, why not? If I can save $100,000 by shipping my legal work to India, what's wrong with that? Because ultimately, I am saving so much money. So, let's not bring in issues of ethics or confidentiality into it. So long as those concerns are addressed, I fully agree that those concerns have to be addressed. But as a principle, as a concept, I think it has to be supported. And I feel that's going to be the trend moving forward. And you will find that with more and more globalization of laws in terms of intellectual property, in terms of competition laws, or some other aspects in, like the WTO requirements coming into play, there is going to be greater general specialization available of international laws in various cheaper jurisdictions, which will make it easier for you to outsource to countries like India. So I'm quite optimistic and bullish about it.
The real issues as far as LPOs are concerned, or generally in the realm of legal process outsourcing, is that laws all over the world are not the same. So a person qualified in a US jurisdiction would not necessarily have the qualifications to advise or to do a meaningful research in India, and vice versa. So really the trick as far as legal process outsourcing is concerned is to develop that talent pool from the region from where you're getting your work, so as to be able to help out the client or whoever you're assisting in that process. That's really the difference between the legal process outsourcing and a general BPO, for example. For example, in the medicine field, knowledge of medicine is more or less same all over the world. So even if whether you're India qualified or you're US qualified is not going to make much difference to the product that you're delivering. Whereas in law, that difference does exist.